This is so interesting. Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is our self-help chatty book club and we are on episode 4 of In the Flow by Alyssa Vitti. So in this video we're covering the pages from 150 to page 200, and I think this is my favorite section yet because we go into our work and our productivity and what your strengths are in your different phases of your cycle, and so good. And also before we get into it, don't forget to follow on TikTok and Instagram at More to Life Kate, because that's where I post all this stuff. Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb mode. So this kicks off chapter 6, your blueprint to do more with less stress. And she basically starts off talking about how much we disconnect from our feminine energy because of how society is run. It's just like all masculine energy, all strategy, all go, all hustle, and all doing. Whereas the feminine energy is like rest and receive and trust and intuition and stuff like that. I am making a conscious effort this year to tap more into my feminine energy. And doesn't it just make so much more sense to turn to our cycles when we want to tap into more of our feminine energy? Like, what? I'm confused as to why I never thought of that before. The author says that you'll know that you're doing it right when you get off the hamster wheel of doing and you're more connected to your body, which leads us to bringing up the whole value of rest. She says that doing and not doing are equally as important. Imagine how much more fulfilling and enjoyable a process it would be to act from a place of I am enough already, I have enough already, rather than constantly hustling from a void. Actually, that leads right into the free masterclass I'm doing next week called The Energy of Planning. And it's all around this idea of if you create a plan, a goal plan, a weekly plan, whatever, from a place of I'm not doing enough, you are going to pack that schedule so full to every single last second. You're literally going to run yourself into the ground. So the masterclass is all about the other way to plan and getting in the right energy to plan out your goals. The details and the link for that are in the description below. So there's this whole section on energy and how it's an inside game. And she asks the question, where is your energy leaking? Are you skipping meals? Are you eating more processed foods? Are you not drinking enough water? When did you last get outside? Where are the energy leaks for you? And she says that you can't create more time, but you can create more energy by plugging these kind of leaks, which makes a lot of sense. Now, here's a potentially controversial opinion. She says traditional time management tools don't work for women with a 28-day clock because the focus is on each 24-hour period. I get where you're coming from, and I agree, but productivity is my niche. And my thoughts are that they absolutely can work and do work. It's just that you have to be flexible. They have to be a bit malleable to the cycle. And Alyssa Vitti has got a particular way to help you optimize your creative output according to the predictable nature of your cycle, which leads to being more productive and less stressed, which I think all of us are keen for. But first, she brings us through a decision-making process, right? And she's like, let's say you've got something on, like an event. Before this event, the night before, or the morning of, feel into it. Imagine yourself going to this event and just feel into your body and be like, how does it feel to visualize going to this event? Does it feel heavy and stressful, or does it feel like you're grounded and you're in your body and you're connected with yourself? If it's on the latter, sure, go for it. If it's on the heavier side, more stressful side, then maybe you're better off picking something else from your project list or task list. And this process, repeated over and over, strengthens your intuition because you're actually paying attention to it. You can actually do any type of work at any point in your cycle, but maybe it's not that you should be doing that type of work. And she gives us this 4-step creative matrix. Obviously, the 4 steps are the 4 phases of your cycle. So starting off with the follicular phase, this is 7 to 10 days long, and our strength here is creativity. And the types of activities that you should be doing in this phase are as follows. Dream big, brainstorm, prepare, research, take courses, strategize, clarify vision, and set weekly and monthly intentions. Okay, pretty straightforward so far. So moving on to the ovulatory phase, obviously 3 to 4 days long, and our strength here is communication and collaboration. The activities we should be doing here are as follows. Socialize, pitch ideas, collab on projects, schedule dates and meetings, host parties, connect with others, have important conversations, and I added another one in here as it relates to business. Sell. For me, if I'm looking at this and I'm planning out like a month-long launch, maybe in this phase I'm going to be doing most of my selling, because that's when my communication is going to be most magnetic, and I'm going to be able to communicate properly what a certain offer is or what it's best for. And then whoever's looking is going to be able to self-select, oh, yep, that's me, or actually, no, that's not for me. Next, we have the luteal phase, which is 10 to 14 days long. Our strength here is completion, nurturing, and tending. So activities, this is our get it done phase. So don't procrastinate. Get organized, accomplish projects and goals that you set in the follicular phase, attend to your home, do your finances and admin tasks, deep work, and celebrate how powerful you are. Then for the menstrual phase, 3 to 7 days long, our strengths here are evaluation and intuition. And the activities we should be doing here are relax and reflect on the past month, note what's been working and what's been feeling less optimal, journal, and then use this as a starting point for setting your intentions in the next follicular phase. Okay, this whole part of the book is like fully turning me on. I love it. So then she has this, well, she calls it a plan her, which is maybe a little cringe. And it's your cyclical approach to managing your energy. So this is a female-centered planning tool, which is a time management tool that aligns with your female biology. It incorporates your body, mind, energy, and mood. Here are the sections in it. Current phase of cycle, the monthly theme, task/work focus. This is where you plan out what you're doing and when, and what your top 3 points of focus are for the day. Then you got your food plan, which is where you can organize your meals based on what phase of your cycle you're in. Then there's your self-care focus. Then you have an energy check-in, which allows you to assess your sleep, mood, energy, and then end of day reflections. I want one. Jumping forward to, she gives us this like 4-week quick start plan to start syncing with your cycle, because we've covered like all of nutrition, all of workouts, all of work now. How do I actually start? Because I can't just do everything at once. And this is the general guideline that she gives, okay? So you start off and you determine what phase you're in. Then you're going to decide if you'll start with food or workouts. Then in week 1, for that current phase, sync your food or your workouts. In week 2, sync your food and your workouts. In week 3, or the next phase, sync your food, your workouts, and your tasks. And it's also important to have a look at here, what can get moved to another phase? Like if you're in a phase that doesn't really align with that particular task, can it get moved to the phase that it does align with? And then week 4, she says to continue all this and use the daily planner and plan out your next cycle as if it were an ideal cycle. Now we're into how to get in the flow when your hormones are out of balance. This is really interesting. I wasn't expecting this to be this good. First of all, there are 3 critical steps to do before syncing with your cycle, and that's number 1, stabilize your blood sugars, number 2, nurture your adrenals, and number 3, support your organs of elimination. You'll know like which needs most support for you. And then we move into the really interesting part, okay? So she says, check 5th vital sign. Oh, I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what you're talking about, thank you. She says to get familiar with your V sign, which is basically your monthly bleed. Because we have this monthly hormonal test that we can run to see what state our hormones are in. Because it's literally communicating with us through like the color, which is wild. So the red V sign type is if it's like cherry red or like cranberry red and clot free, your hormones are typically balanced. This is a good sign. This is so interesting. Next is the purple V sign type. This is when the bleed is a deep purple or blue and has clots. What's happening here is your estrogen is too high. This usually means that you'll have heavier periods and more severe PMS symptoms. And there are long-term effects of this as well. So there's a higher risk of thyroid dysfunction and breast and ovarian cancer. Then we have the brown V sign type. So if the bleed is more brown, this tells us that we don't have enough progesterone because the uterus doesn't shed completely and it oxidizes, which is what makes it brown. And this is very important because low progesterone makes it harder to maintain a pregnancy beyond the first trimester. You may also experience mood swings, anxiety, depression, trouble concentrating, sleep problems, headaches, and low libido. I had no idea that we could use this to tell us where we're at with our hormones. I had no idea. This is so useful. Then we have the pink V sign type. So if it's pale pink at the start and end of your monthly bleed, your estrogen is too low. This leads to faster aging, osteoporosis, heart issues, and maybe even dryness down there, and low libido, hair thinning, anxiety, and depression. So that's a lot of stuff too. And then lastly, we have the missing/irregular V sign type, which basically there's no consistency, like it's a different color every month, it's a different duration every month, and you kind of can't tell what's going on. There's definitely something off in this situation. And here she suggests going to a gynecologist for a hormone checkup. And then of course she goes into what is normal, because apparently there's a normal and there's an abnormal. So how are you gonna know if you've gotten back on track and, you know, things are going the way they're supposed to be going? Basically, you will have a 28 to 32 day cycle. The color of the bleed will be that deep cherry or cranberry red from start to finish. It will be about 4 to 7 days long of a period. You'll have a strong flow without clots, but it won't be inconveniently heavy. And then as for pain, and this is one my ears perked up with because this is something I struggled with a lot, she was like, you should be able to feel it. There's a slight sensation and warmth of your uterus contracting, but it's not a pain that should make you reach for painkillers and hot water bottles. So that's your step 1, is with your V sign type. Step 2 then is adopt a biohacking mindset. And honestly, there wasn't much to add from here other than don't believe the period myths. Step 3 then is to remove endocrine disruptors. Again, this is something I've never really known much about, and maybe I've even turned a blind eye to because I haven't known how to overcome it. But our environment is full of chemicals and pesticides and all this like icky, not good stuff. She says to bring your awareness to the following. Do you eat non-organic food or non-organic meat that's not antibiotic free? Do you drink water from plastic bottles? Do you use standard nail polish or hair care products that aren't all natural? Just all those kind of things. These could all be stacking up against your hormones. Again, I had no clue. And then she drops this insane statistic, right? Moving to organic reduces urinary output of pesticides by up to 90% within a week. Step 4, she says use food to fight your symptoms. There's this whole section with like fibroids, eat this, avoid this, endometriosis, eat this, avoid this. So I'm just gonna go really, really fast over this whole section. Fibroids, eat flax seeds, beans, oats and brown rice, and pears and apples. Avoid processed soy products and other meat and dairy replacements, and also processed red meats, white starchy foods, alcohol and caffeine. For endometriosis, eat anti-inflammatory foods, as well as foods high in magnesium like almonds, avocado, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, spinach, that kind of stuff. And avoid dairy, alcohol, gluten, pesticide-laden FDS foods, and red meat. If you've got PCOS, eat the following. Beans, lentils, cruciferous veg, sweet potatoes, almonds. Avoid caffeine, sugar, dairy, red meat, artificial sweeteners, soy products, cooking oils, and margarine. If you get bad cramps, eat the following. Almonds and hazelnuts instead of ibuprofen. Mad. Leafy greens, and take vitamin E and magnesium. If you do this for a few days before and after your period, you should be good. Also avoid dairy and saturated animal fats and refined oils. She also has a section for bloating, acne and breast tenderness as well, but I'm just gonna say it's from page 193 to 196, so have a look if that's you. Step 5 then, replenish your micronutrients. Top 2 tips here: eat more nutrient dense foods and take supplements like a multivitamin or multi-mineral. Some that are particularly important for your cycle are vitamin B, magnesium, which is apparently magic for your hormones, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin D3. And then there's also probiotics and antioxidants. Again, there are a lot more details in this book about when you need which and which ones mean what, and it's a lot. These videos will be 10 hours long if I went into it all, but again, like, this book is going to be linked in the description of all these videos as well if you haven't already got it. But it's just really interesting because we never really see our food as medicine, and this is kind of how she's selling it. That's everything we've got for episode 4. Now, here's the thing. We're coming to the second half of this book, and there isn't like exactly, it doesn't land on a multiple of 50, if you know what I mean. So what we're gonna do for this next video is we're gonna read up to page 260, and then after that, we're just gonna finish the book. In the next video, which will be 2 weeks from today, we'll be covering from page 200 to 260. This was one of my favorites. I love the idea of organizing your tasks across the month based on your strengths in your phases. That is just completely new to me, and I'm so open to it. And then also, what's this about the V sign? That blew my mind. Very curious as to which you found the most valuable from this video. I just think this book is just insane. Like, how is this not mainstream information? Like, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And also, don't forget to follow on Instagram and TikTok at MoreToLifeKate. Oh, and the video on the screen right now covering my face, if you haven't seen that one, you need to go watch that one. All right, I'll leave that with you. See you next time. Bye. Mwah.